Hey YouTube, welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. We are building a house in
Yes,
Bear
we
Lake,
are.
and we are actually going to be working in the house this week.
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing. We've been spending a lot of time on the garage, and now we're going to be in the house. We're working on the utility room today. We need to get our water reservoir and our water heater into the utility room. Then we're going to be setting up the water manifold, and then we'll be able to get started on plumbing, running all of the Pex. We have the main drains and vents are already in. We had our underground plumber that did that work.
I didn't want to
vents.
do the cast-in concrete drains. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are done. We're just going to be running Pex to all the places where we need water in the house.
A really important thing we need to do today is test our water pressure in the house. This is the main water inlet line here. We have rigged up a water pressure gauge. We're gonna go open the main valve outside, and then we'll be able to test the water pressure and determine how gnarly we have to get about fixing the problem, which might include booster pumps and reservoir tanks and all sorts.
Moment of truth, what do we got?
Whoa. So we just learned something really important. We did a water pressure test on our main line here, and the water pressure is really good. It's like almost 70 PSI, but we did a flow test. So we ran water into a bucket while we timed for a minute, and houses should have a minimum of like 6 gallons per minute. We have 1.5 gallons, not even 2 gallons. So what we have to do is a really convoluted system that you probably would only see in a rural area where you're getting your water from a well. Basically, we are going to run water into this big blue reservoir tank. It's gonna sit there holding 80 gallons. From there, we will pressurize the system with a booster pump, which will force it at rapid flow rate, not 2 gallons per minute, like 8 gallons per minute, into the house and throughout all of the house. So that'll mean that all of our hose bibs, all of our faucets, all of our showers have good water pressure. The reason we have to have a tank is that you can't pump something that isn't there. So you need a big old swerve it to pump because it just won't come in the house fast enough. Other complication we have is that since we have to do these big water tanks, we have to have on one side of our HVAC system the water reservoir, and on the other side the actual water heater, which is gas. So complication here is that because our furnace is so big, we actually can't get this fat tank or the water heater past the HVAC system. So what we have to do is we have to cut a door into this wall so that we can actually get them in and out, which really stinks because then we have to hide the panel somehow in this downstairs living room when it's finished. So we're gonna end up cutting studs out of this load-bearing wall and rebuilding it with a strong header so that it can bear the weight and we can get our tanks in and out.
What we have going on. This is our water reservoir. This is a supplemental tankless water heater, which will kick on in order to get the water up to temp if the actual water heater runs out, which is really nice for a big home like this that has showers with multiple shower heads. So the actual water heater around here, and in order to get it back there, we added this doorway. This right here is our manifold for our water lines. So the primary hot and cold water lines will come in here, and then we'll have kind of like a giant candelabra, all of our Pex lines coming out of this and into the rest of the house. I think I'm gonna make this door in this back corner kind of a hidden door so it won't really be noticeable in this living space, and it's very rarely going to be opened. It will only be opened if we need to access the water heater or replace the water heater. So that'll be okay, and we are ready to start running PEX lines through the house and to our little manifold.
We are using Pex A, which is one of 2.5 types of PEX, and I say 2.5 types because of shark bite. But essentially what we're doing is we're using these expansion fittings to join up our various bits of pipe, and the way that you do that is that you take one of the collars and you slide it on your pipe. You then use an expansion tool like this that stretches it. If you can't see these little barbs, they stretch out and they expand the pipe with the collar on it temporarily, enough for you to slide one of your fittings in. And then over the course of the next little while, they actually shrink up again. You can't pull them out once you put them in, they're stuck. But they continue to shrink over time and form a completely waterproof seal. So way easier than using solder and copper. So you can make joints with this in a couple seconds, which is really convenient for a low-skilled person who doesn't have enough time to build their house, like me. This is what it looks like when it's finished. That there is a barbed pipe fitting inside of that, and the collar is squeezed over it.
Right above us is the main floor bathroom. And you can kind of see we've got some blues and reds ending right there. We're going to install some elbows, and then those lines need to run back to the utility room over there.
This is the wrong size. Just loading up my bag with them.
Oh.
It's okay, we got the right side. I just grabbed the wrong size. I was like, oh, these are very large.
So you got 3/4 inch there, and you need the 1/2 inch?
Yeah, I need the 1/2 inch spool.
We did not, in fact, have the right size, so now I have to go to the store. How's it going?
Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you. Cool. Good to you, huh?
Yep.
That'll keep Zeus occupied until tomorrow.
Sweet. One down, 50 to go. Good morning. It is a sunshiny day. There's a lot of glare coming off of the snow. It's a beautiful day. We are going to be working on plumbing all weekend. And the good news is that it's a 3-day weekend. It's President's Day weekend. So we get 3 days to focus on finishing the plumbing. We have lots and lots of PEX supplies that we picked up last night, and we're gonna get going. Zeus is running around and scaring the kitties. It's his favorite thing in the morning. Any kitties coming with? Hi, good kitty. How have you gotten all that snow on your face? You're silly. You been rolling in it? You been rolling in the snow? While Mike is working on running PEX lines, I am going to work on putting all of the valves on this manifold. So we put one on, you just wrap plumber's tape around them and then screw on the little valves, and then we attach the PEX lines to that. We can label them, and then we have an easy way to shut off the water to any particular room or toilet, shower, whatever it is. So now that I have all of the little valves on, there are 2 really big ones that go on the top. And these will be our main hot water and main cold water lines that will then feed the whole house.
Everyone's looking at you.
Everybody's working for the weekend.
Everybody wants a new romance.
Hey, yeah.
Shrink again.
kitchen island sink, and then the dishwasher line. And apparently dishwashers just get hot water lines. On Amazon. Okay, it's Saturday evening. We have run all of the lines for the main floor. We have our main floor bathroom, the laundry we haven't connected yet, but the lines are run, and the kitchen is all set up and connected. So we're gonna call it a day. We're gonna go eat some food and relax. Tomorrow, we're gonna run the main lines all the way up to the master bathroom. It is another beautiful, sunshiny day up here, a bluebird day if you will, because it did snow last night. I'm gonna go start the heater in the house. It's not like we're gonna heat the whole house, but we can get it at least a few degrees warmer in the house than it is outside, which is nice. The sun also helps a lot. The second floor where our master suite is really gets pretty warm. So, might be an issue in the summertime. I'm worried that we're gonna have to install a separate air conditioning unit just for the master suite, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Hello, today we did many things. We ran about half of the water lines in the house, both cold and hot, mostly stuff from all the way up on the third floor today, and all of it makes its way down to this manifold, which distributes the main cold and hot water lines. So this is everything. Next up, we have to plumb in the water entry to come over to this tank, which is going to be pressurized by a neat little quiet booster pump. And that's gonna flow back to the other side of the HVAC. The HVAC being in the middle is terribly inconvenient. It's going to flow over to the main water heater and back over along the wall, I suspect, to this guy, and we'll have a hot water line coming out and going all the way back over to this. So there's quite a bit going back and forth.
So our friend David is our MEP, our plumbing electrical engineer, and he insisted that we get this water manifold. And when he said that, he described it as being sexy, and I was like, okay, Dave, like it's a water manifold. But I'm really happy with this. Sexy might be the right word because everything is very organized. We know exactly what water lines go where. We can easily shut off individual things throughout the house, and it worked out really well. So thanks, David. It's President's Day. It is day 3 of our 3-day weekend, and we have been very productive this weekend. And now we need to connect the main line to the reservoir tank, and then the reservoir tank to the water heater, and then the water heater to the supplemental electric water heater, and then to the manifold. So we still have a bit of plumbing to do, but all of that is in the actual utility room. However, we might have to pivot and work on something else today because our HVAC guys are coming back. Our plans originally only specified the electric water heater and not a propane water heater tank. So they didn't give us a propane line for the water heater tank. So they're coming back to add a T and adjust that propane line. And then they might be doing the vent for the propane tank for us. We bought the material already. We were planning on just doing it ourselves, but probably better if they do it. We might have to pivot and work on other things today, but all in all, it has been a very productive weekend for us, and I wish we had more 3-day weekends so that we could get this whole project done.
A constant challenge we have in building our own home is that we don't know what we don't know. So I do my best to do research, I read online, I have a code book that points out all the obvious things that you might do wrong. We really try. In planning our utility room, we decided, because of frequent power outages up here, that we were going to go with a propane water heater, which would mean that if we lose power for a couple of days, which sometimes happens, it happened this winter, that we would have hot showers, we'd have hot running water. That would be really nice. So we bought one, and with our utility room being in the basement of a 3-story structure, there are certain ventilation challenges and things that we have to do. In this case, we made a mistake. We had our HVAC guys out here who ran our propane lines running a new drop for us so that we could plug in our water heater, and they were also going to duct out. They showed up, they took a look at our water heater, they took a look at our vent situation, and they said, oh, you can't vent out the side of your house. So we spent $1,500 on the wrong water heater, which is a real bummer because I called Home Depot and I said, hey, everything that is there, it's brand new, it's never been installed, but we cut open the box and the box is ruined. Can we return it? And they said, no, you can't. In order for us to resell it, it needs to be in its original box. That box needs to be in decent shape. So I ran out to the trash trailer and I pulled the soaking wet under snow box out of the trash, and we are trying to cobble it back together. That's it over there. We've been drying it with our diesel 50,000 BTU heater that we used to keep the downstairs warm while we're working in here. And it's in really rough shape, honestly. But our only real option is to get that returned and to exchange it for an electric water heater, which is fine. It's not ideal for power outages, but we actually are upgrading, I should say, our power supply to 400 amps. So we have plenty of power in the house to run it, in addition to the other, it doesn't even mess up our load calculations. Everything is still fine. So we're going to try and exchange. If they will not exchange for us, then we have to make a tough decision between running some ugly plumbing and eating $1,500 in expense for a water heater, which we now cannot use.
We did get a lot done this weekend. Not everything that we wanted to get done this weekend. We don't want to set our reservoir tank or the pump that goes into it until we know which water heater we're going to have, where it's going to sit, and make sure that everything fits properly. So we're gonna hold on that. We're gonna try to get this water heater back in its box, tape it up well enough that they will take it back from us. Wish us luck, and we'll see you next time.